Hey there, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation. Did you know that actually planning ahead for your race significantly increases your chances of actually doing really well at that race? Oh my God, what an outlandish statement. But the truth is actually straight on point. When most people think about preparing for a race, they think about the physical training, about the equipment, about the logistics. But what is missing from that equation, right? You got three legs of the stool. You're like, three-legged stool, coach. I got everything. Actually, what you're missing is the mental component in getting ready for race day. And early in the season, as we are right now, mental component is actually one of the weakest ones that you have. You've been indoors, coddled, nurtured with the appropriate temperature controls, indoor trainers, indoor treadmills, food just like a reach away, and you haven't really put yourself into the position that race brings to you in terms of the stress, the accumulated fatigue, the mental fatigue of just keeping your body on that knife's edge for the duration of the race, managing all of the challenges that come your way, all of the obstacles, all of the new needs, changes, challenges, whether it's weather or competition, whether it's internal or external, that come your way. And the mental game is actually a huge differentiator. Now, how do most people handle this in a regular season? Well, here's what they do. They go out and they get it wrong. And they say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just messed that up in May. Didn't I do this last year? Maybe in May too? Who knows? Okay, I'll try it again. And they'll get like 50% better. And they're like, that was good, but I still like a couple key holes in there. And then by like September, October, maybe November, they finally got it all dialed in. They have a great race. They said, nailed it. Time to put my stuff away. I'll see you next year. So you had 3 chances, 2 of them total misses. 1 was successful. We can do much better, my friends. In fact, I expect you to do better. I am disappointed in you if you are unwilling to do better. If you don't want to do better, please turn off this video now. Unsub from this channel. Don't do it. Inside Endurance Nation, we're a huge fan of making athletes smarter. Smarter athletes are faster athletes. There's a definite correlation there. You can worry about genes and budgets and equipment, race choices, and all of that stuff. But really what it comes down to is athlete IQ. And your IQ can go higher simply by putting in some extra time. And this week, I'm going to talk to you about that mental preparation. Okay. So how do we prepare mentally for a race? Now, level 1 is thinking about your workouts. So say I'll match my workouts to race day, and I'm going to put myself in a position to do the work I'm going to do on race day, sort of monitor and see where I'm at, right? They'll be like, this was hard. I'm going to simulate my course by pushing hard or whatever it is. They do the workouts, right? That's level 1. That's good. Don't get me wrong. That's good. That's better than most, especially if you're dialing it in. Level 2, you forget about the actual course and the terrain itself, but you actually prepare yourself for the execution of the race. So instead of doing the work of the race, we think about mastery of the race. The execution of the race for Endurance Nation, those of you who are already on the team, this is just a little refresher for you. Race day is about execution, not fitness. And that means actually thinking about how I'm going to fuel myself over the course of this race, how I'm going to pace myself and distribute my energy, how I'm going to go through the process of navigating the different components of the course, my equipment selection, all the pieces that go into a great race. And we do a simulation simply because we're going to get it wrong. So by the time we get to race day, our odds of doing it right go significantly up, right? Level 1, we have just doing the work on race day. Level 2 is actually simulating the race as we want to move forward. So how do we break through to get to like level 3, level 4, or level 5? Well, we begin to take those components and then we start to piggyback on that athlete knowledge. Oh my goodness, I just did that. Athlete knowledge. And then we also think about athlete expectations mentally. So what does athlete knowledge mean? Well, this is actually, if you can't do it yourself, talking to a training partner or someone who knows you well. And athlete knowledge really in this case is, who am I now heading into my race, right? So is this your first time doing this event? Are you someone who's coming back from injury? Are you coming off of a great winter, or have you struggled? Do you have high expectations for yourself personally for this race? Or you're there moderate, or you're just like, listen, I just want to finish this thing and have a ton of fun, race with my friends, whatever that is. Whatever those components are, that self-knowledge is actually really important because it guides the type of preparation we're going to make going forward in terms of the mental side of your race, okay? So take a moment. You want to actually think really clearly. And it may take a moment or two because naturally, if someone says, hey, do you want to have a great race? The answer is, oh yeah, like, totally, I'm going to crush that thing. But the reality is that we have a tiny voice inside of us that says, I'm really going to crush it. Like maybe we'd crush it if we were, 5 pounds lighter, or maybe we'd crush it if we started training in November instead of waiting until January, or maybe we'd crush it if we'd actually like had our stuff together and really don't. And so, crushing it isn't just about an ego decision or a bravado response. It's actually being ready. And so taking a moment to kind of cut through the noise there and think about it is actually really important. And most people in this situation would be like, I'm just going to write down the time I'm going to do the race in, right? I'm going to go sub 4 in a marathon. I'm going to go sub 12 in an Ironman. that's not actually telling me who you are. That's just telling me what you want to achieve. There's a big gap between where you are now and that time at the end of the day on that clock. And we really start with your athlete self-assessment here, self-knowledge, which is super important. So go through and just figure out, where are you ability level? Where are you experience level? Where are you fitness level? And where are you in terms of expectations level? Sort of a 4-part step there to sort of understand where you fit on those quadrants. So if you score yourself like super high on all of them, congratulations, you love to score yourself super high. It has no correlation with your actual race day experience. But what it is an opportunity for you to really think about, and maybe if you're not sure, just show it to someone else and be like, hey, I asked myself these 4 questions. Here are my answers. What would you rate me as compared to these? Like, was I overconfident, or was I under, lacking confidence here? Like, where do I fall inside that space? Very important to do. Then finally, my friends, the topic for today, we get to move to visualization. Now, we've already talked about the work being done on the day. We've talked about execution in terms of the strategies and how we're going to play it out. We've talked a little bit about your athlete sort of self-assessment and athlete IQ inside the course. Now we can start talking about visualization. All of those components come into your visualization, because visualization is essentially your story from the moment you get up in the morning on race day to the moment you hit that finish line. And in that many chaptered book is the preparation that you've done and the work you know you're going to do. You know about the course, the terrain, and you also know who you are in this visualization doing it. So are you a first timer climbing that key section on a hill? Are you a veteran athlete with high expectations, 3rd time on the course, looking to really take advantage of that downhill finally with new, disc brakes on your bike? You're really going to light it up. Or are you, returning athlete, returning, from time off, excited to just get out there and complete the run, ideally without discomfort and without very many walking breaks, right? So there's all different types of scenarios that could happen on the big day. And this is where we get into the visualization. So how do visualizations work? There's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is the level 4, type 2 is the level 5, right? So in the level 4 one, this visualization is start to finish where everything goes well. So we talk about getting up and having the most delicious breakfast, which we prepared for ourselves the night before. Everything tasted great. Maybe you have some ideas about what those things are. Plenty of time to use the facilities before we have to depart the house. And of course, the car is ready to go. Everything's all set, or you can walk there, and you're to the race venue with 0 traffic, and you get to park and leisurely walk over to find your equipment, which is of course pristine and not soaking wet from the night before, and in great condition. There's no problem with the PSI and the tires or anything else, right? You get the idea. And we go through the whole race, basically walking yourself through waiting in the starting line, the warm up. Ahead of that, the nutrition you may have in the on race site after your breakfast before then. We'll talk about the early miles of your race, and we'll talk about the key sections of your race as well. You can work yourself through that. And we have lots of great visualization information on the Endurance Nation website for those of you who are members. But essentially, you're telling this net positive story of yourself as you go across the course of the day. Everything's going well. The challenges, you respond to them. And we're describing the terrain, we're describing the RPE and how things are going to feel based on the work that you've done, based on your knowledge of the course, based on who you are as an individual, right? So we go through this whole process, and without a really happy story. If you want to be like a pro, you can write it out, or you can voice note it and then transcribe it. Either way, you have sort of this set story, which is helpful. I usually take that story, turn it into an outline, and I'll just kind of check through it, because it's great to have it written out, because I'll often come back and I'll write in a few more ideas, because you'll be going through this a couple times during race week, if not after your last simulation until race day, which is usually the last 2 weeks, even if you're really on top of it. That's level 4. So, okay, what's this level 5 thing I'm talking about? Well, level 5 actually takes into account the realities of race day. And if you're not a new endurance athlete, then how about we just use the example of like a long road trip as like a corollary? Racing is really just like a long road trip, which is to say you want to go from point A to point B. You want to be at point B on a certain time. There's expectations around it. You've done a fair amount of preparation. You know your equipment. It's easy for you to figure out where to go. That's not a problem. It's the how you're going to get there. And on a good road trip, there's always something, especially the longer it is. There's a detour. There's a problem. Someone gets sick. There's a weather event. Somebody messages you or call you. You got to pull over, take the call. Whatever it may be, something always comes up. And race day is no different. Race day is really just a series of problems you solve on the way to the finish line. And so, in fact, this level 5 and the second step of the visualization is really getting into all of the things that go wrong. So what could we use? On the swim, we could use having our goggles kicked off. For the bike, we could talk about having issues with our shifting, or maybe our power meters not pairing with our bike computer. Maybe it's raining, right? And you thought it'd be great weather for the Lake Placid descent, but it turns out that it's raining and now you're super freaked out. Maybe instead of just running normally, maybe you have a cramp. Maybe your hips are super tight coming off the bike. Maybe your stomach is upset. And in this bad visualization, which is actually really, really good, you're going to walk through all of those challenges and you're going to name them for the particular segment of the race. Say we'll do the bike and we'll do the different challenges you face. I'm going to go back and we're going to solve those challenges, right? So, I said I had a flat tire. Well, how would I solve that flat tire? Okay, I would unclip, leave my foot pointed out so people know I'm stopping, casually roll off to the shoulder, so on the non-car side, so I can find a place that's hopefully open and clear so I don't lose my stuff. And I can shift into the right gear so it's easy for me to get my wheel off. When I stop and get off my bike, the first thing I'm going to do is put food inside my mouth, so I'm getting some calories in while I'm doing this, okay? Then I'm going to get my toolkit out, etc., and get that all set. And then I'm going to take the rear wheel off, lay my bike down, and start going through the process of checking everything out, right? Very simple, but very deliberate. So we have a problem, but we're going to handle it like a pro. Similar with, like, let's say there's a stomach issue on the run. But number one thing we want to do is slow down so our body can actually get back to the work of absorbing. Typically, this is just a blood flow issue and fatigue and perhaps even some poor food choices. We may need a little bit of fluid to help settle our stomach, or if you need to, if you're feeling nauseous, maybe a little bit of carbonated beverage, like a sip of a Coke or something like that. But you may need to dial away the food and actually go to just liquid for a little bit. Our goal here is to keep moving forward and get a sense of if the effort changes actually yield better perception of your stomach, in which case we know that it is indeed effort. And we're going to need some time, and maybe 5 minutes, it could be 15 minutes of like walk, run, walk, trying to stay always moving forward. And if it's something that is more serious, finding a place to use the restroom facilities or perhaps getting to an aid station to get someone to take a look at you. But either way, in a triathlon, for example, you're never that far away from someone to get some help. That's another example of how you would triage a problem. And so in this bad example, which is the best example, level 5 example, you're actually going through each of those challenges. You can do this for gravel races, again, flat tire, getting lost, unbound, getting tons of mud on your bike. I'm going to use my pain stick to get the mud off my bike, which means I need to bring a pain stick with me. I understand that my pain stick's going to be in my pocket so it's accessible. Like all those things, when you talk through it, it makes sense. And by telling it in story format, you're burning it into your DNA, in your brain, and making sure that the neurons are all lined up. So when you have a problem, you know exactly what to do. This is a lot like why, the general consensus is that when we think about teaching our kids to dial 911 in emergencies, you actually have to give them the phone and make them dial 911 so they actually understand what it means to like turn on the phone and dial it. Because when you say call 911, people freak out. And if they haven't done it before, they don't actually know what that is and what it means. So actually in this visualization, you're going through that same set of steps with your race brain. It's a hidden, deep, secret part of your brain that's like super gung-ho, but really not self-confident and often confuses activity and energy with high-quality responses to problems. We don't know, call the fire and just have the first fireman come running to our house because he was so pumped about fighting our fire. We need them to show up with the truck and the whole crew so the driver, she can get out and help with the hoses. And so the other firefighter can get on the ladder and go fight something, or if someone's going to, stop the traffic on the road or whatever it is. We need that to happen. And so we have to think of it a little more deliberately. So as you think about having a great race this season, especially early in the season, remember, never overlook that mental component. So yes, please, level 1, do the work corollary to your race. Level 2, please do the execution style preparation that we have here inside the station to prepare for how you're going to play out the race day. Level 3, really do that internal self-talk. Figure out who you are and where you're at for this race right now. Not who you want to be by the end of the year, not who you were last year, but who you are right now and who you want to be. Very important that we calibrate our expectations and our race plans based off of who we are. Level 4 is we actually do the world's most perfect visualization, the best story ever told. People will sing, angels will sing of this story of your race in heaven as you enter the pearly gates as a paragon of excellence, a clear example of what amazing races look like. And then we could do level 5, which is actually how races often play out, where there's never an easy way to get from the start to the finish line. And you can actually turn that into what will end up being your most powerful and successful race yet. If nothing goes wrong and you have to touch any of those things, that's fantastic. Getting them into your brain and being ready to handle them mean that you're 100% ready for any of the situations that could come up. And more often than not, it's the devil we don't know that is the biggest problem on race day. I hope you enjoyed this brief interlude and perhaps slightly confusing correlation of levels and ability across this presentation. but that you're actually serious about thinking visualization. If you've got questions, reply to the video, post to us on social media, reach out to me on Twitter or on Facebook. I'll be happy to answer you in either one of those places to give you a sense of what I'm really talking about. If you've got questions inside the team, head to the Ask a Question section, put it up there. Be like, Coach Patrick, visualization, walk me through it. I'll be happy to do it. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic week. Happy racing and happy visualization. Oh, well, actually, maybe a little unhappy, but it's definitely going to make sure that you have a fantastic race. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next week.